I thought that Kemi came across like a school mum, disciplining, school children. She came across rude, and if she wants to be a party leader, she's not really enamouring people.
Let me ask you about another thing that's caused a lot of comment in the Commons today. Kemi Badenoch was in front of a committee, and she was asked about the retained EU law bill, which, for people listening, is the bill that would obliterate a lot of laws that we had inherited, as it were, from our days in the EU. And she said, "I'm not an arsonist. I'm a conservative." I think, if I may say so, she was talking about people like you.
I watched that interview and I thought that Kemi came across like a school mum, disciplining, school children. She came across rude, and if she wants to be a party leader, she's not really enamouring people. And let's not forget, like people like David, he's a former Minister of the Cabinet himself, and also Andrew. For some of these people, like Bill and David, this is their life's work coming out of the EU. And I thought there should have been more respect there. After all, David was just doing his job as a member of a committee.
So not her finest hour.
No.
Sticking with, I suppose, in a way, the whole Brexit issue and the Prime Ministership of Boris Johnson, what's your view of this extraordinary argument going on between the Cabinet Office and Boris over the release of WhatsApp messages and phone records and so forth to Baroness Hallett's inquiry into COVID? Because Boris Johnson is now saying they can have anything they want. He'll hand stuff over.
Even his old phone as well.
Even if his old phone.
Yes.
But the Cabinet Office is saying, no, we have to decide what goes to the inquiry and what doesn't go. Why would they be doing that?
I can understand personal things if it's sort of like WhatsApps, about to your other half and stuff like this. But to me, and the general public, you think, what are you hiding? The pandemic affected, every area of the country, and it's only right that we have this inquiry. People was in lockdowns and they want answers. People died. So I hope that the Cabinet Office, start cooperating.
They can't be protecting Boris Johnson, can they?
No, exactly. So are they protecting the Prime Minister?
Is that your suspicion that it's the Prime Minister?
Who knows? I don't want to preempt things, but I think the fact that they're going to the court over this, a judge is going to decide. You've got to ask why. Why is that? You jump to all sorts of conclusions by the way they're behaving.
Just returning to where we started and the welfare bill.
Yes.
How much of a vote loser do you think it could be if the government doesn't change its view on animal rights?
I think massively, Andrew. I look back actually on my inbox for the last 8 years of being an MP, and I've had tens of thousands of emails across the spectrum about animal welfare, and this matters to people.
Am I right in saying you've got to have 100,000 signatures to get a legislation to try to change this?
Yes.
And how are you doing, I was going to ask?
Well, we only launched it about 5 p.m. last night. Last time I looked, it was over 2,000. Now, the whole point of this, obviously as an MP, you don't often do a petition in this way. I can ask questions in Parliament, but I think this is about people power. I've got some well-known people who's coming on board and doing videos for me. And also I've been speaking to the animal welfare organisations today who are also on board.
Yeah.
And I think it's putting pressure on the government to show that the general public want to carry on with this bill.
You've been mildly critical of the Prime Minister recently. What's your overall view, Andrew, about how he's doing?
I'm critical in the way that he got the position. Because
nobody voted for this, as it were.
Yes, exactly. And to me, loyalty is everything. In the fact that in my opinion, I feel the Prime Minister was rather disloyal to Boris, because he did pluck him out of obscurity as a junior minister, given the second best job in government. So that's my beef about the Prime Minister, so to speak. However, I do think he's got a difficult job. Look, we've been through the pandemic and we've got the war in Ukraine and Russia. And so it's got a difficult task. And I do wish him well. Of course I do. I'm a Conservative. And it doesn't matter how critical I am, I want to see Conservatives elected into government. I don't want to see Labour.
Let's play a familiar game at the moment. Describe Rishi Sunak in one word.
Oh, my gosh. Annoying, because he's not putting this animal welfare bill through.